The road to the 2025 continues, and this time we go to the Fairgrounds for the Louisiana Derby. It's the start of the 100-point prep season on the trail, and we're going to go to the Fairgrounds. Of course, 3-year-old colts, they're going to be going 1 mile and 3/16, and it's all going to happen part of a big card of racing on Saturday, March 22nd, and the Fairgrounds will be the scene in New Orleans. Kentucky Derby prep season. If you've got a few points, a third place can get you in. Otherwise, you must finish first or second. 100 points to the winner, 50 points for second, 25 for third, 15 for fourth, and 10 points for fifth. Of course, the Louisiana Derby since 1980, 99 Kentucky Derby runners have gone on from the Louisiana Derby to the Kentucky Derby. There's been 4 winners. The last one was by a disqualification, Mandaloun, in 2021. But last year we had Track Phantom, Catching Freedom, and Honor Marie. They all ran in the Louisiana Derby, then went on to the Kentucky Derby. So it's one of the big 7 final preps. The Louisiana Derby field has been drawn, and it did draw a field of 10 horses. Very competitive race, I think. We've got some speed runners, and let's take a look at the field. Led by John Hancock. Now, he scratched out of the Virginia Derby, and he is going to take the rail position in the Louisiana Derby. Of course, he won the Sam F. Davis over Owen Almighty last time. Chunk of Gold was second in the Risen Star to the runaway winner, Magnitude. He's been training forwardly for this race. Meanwhile, Tistastic ships in from Oaklawn Park. He's one of 2 runners for trainer Steve Asmussen. Steve Asmussen also has a recent maiden winner in Yinzer. He won on the undercard using a rail skimming trip of the Risen Star Day. Seems to be slowly improving for trainer Steve Asmussen. The coach, Dwayne Lucas, sends in Caldera. Big move in the Sunland Derby. He was wide that day, battled the length of the stretch against Getaway Car. Caldera goes to Tyler Gaffleone. Built third in the Risen Star. He won the Gun Runner. He's been running all along in this series. He's got speed. If the track comes up sloppy, he's by Hard Spun, and they like the mud and sloppy tracks. Built another one with a 5-furlong workout last week. You've got Vasimo for Todd Pletcher. Now, Vasimo was 4th in the Risen Star. He was kind of trapped early. Then he was running late, kind of start and stopped a couple of times in that race. He did break his maiden at Gulfstream, and he also won a race at Tampa Bay for Vasimo. Furio, 2 starts at the Fairgrounds, a win and a second, going up to the stakes level here. Instant Replay, a big allowance win the last time. Brad Cox trains, kind of picked it up, has to go without Lasix here in the Louisiana Derby. And then rounding out the field is Hypnus for trainer Ken McPeak. He had a troubled trip at Oaklawn, but he did break his maiden in the slop at the Fairgrounds, and now he goes back to the Fairgrounds and that long Fairgrounds stretch. So that's a look at your 10-horse field. Like I say, you've got a stakes winner in John Hancock. You've also got Yinzer, a recent maiden winner. And then you've got some horses with stakes experience like Built, Vasimo, Chunk of Gold, and even Hypnus, I thought, had a rough trip in that Oaklawn Park race. Now let's take a look at the race replays, get you up to date. Let's start off with Built. Here he is at Keeneland. He wins this race from just off the pace. You know, a maiden win, and he also won the Gun Runner Stakes. He ran in the Lecomte Stakes, and he did run in the Risen Star, losing second late in that race. Now let's watch the Risen Star for Built. He made this huge move after Magnitude took the lead, kind of opened up. Then Built made a sweeping move, got within second place, and then he lost second late in the final couple strides to Chunk of Gold. But I thought he ran more of a winning type move in that race than Chunk of Gold. I prefer Built more in this race in the Louisiana Derby. Now Caldera, let's go back to his maiden win at Oaklawn Park. He's faced some good horses, finally was able to get his graduation. He's the big gray on the lead, led him into the stretch that day, and then he went straight from that maiden race, he went to the Sunland Derby. So Caldera, after that maiden win, let's go to Sunland Park. He's dueling with Getaway Car the length of the stretch. They're going back and forth. Now, he did have an outside post that day, and he had to make a move to get into position, but I thought Caldera ran really well in that Getaway Car race at the Sunland Derby. He finished second. He had a wide trip and had a stretch-long duel. Now, Instant Replay is an up-and-comer. You see the familiar silks there of Gary West and the pink silks. Of course, Maximum Security rode that silks in the Derby. But let's go back to the last race. Fairgrounds, instant replay, drawing off, improved his speed figure. Now he's got to go without Lasix. Brad Cox getting down to just a couple of horses on the trail here. He does have John Hancock as the speed, and instant replay is probably going to come a little bit off the pace for trainer Brad Cox. Now Vasimo, this one, let's go back to his maiden win at Gulfstream. I thought this was an impressive effort. Then in the Risen Star, he was kind of trapped early, rallied late. You know, he's lightly raced, only 3 starts, but that maiden win at Gulfstream I thought was a good effort, and he seems to be slowly improving. Maybe not in the top 10 of this class, but I think he's slowly improving, and he'll like the 1 3/16 distance for Vasimo. Now Hypnus, another one, broke his maiden at the Fairgrounds. It was a sloppy track. Look at him burst through late, powered away. He's by Into Mischief, who's got a lot of horses on the Triple Crown Trail. Then he was troubled at the rail. I thought he would have ran third, maybe if he wouldn't have had some trip trouble down the stretch at Oaklawn Park in his last race. But he's been training forwardly since that race. I think he's going to like the distance, and Hypnus gets that 10th post position from the outside for trainer Ken McPeak. Now Yinzer is another one. Let's go back to his Fairgrounds last time out, the undercard of the Risen Star. He won this day. He broke his maiden. Now he did take advantage of a live rail that day, but he's been hinting at some talent. He kind of drifted out in the middle of the track a couple of races ago. He's had some interesting trips, and Yinzer is another one who is going into a stakes race, but he's got a few races under him, and he does have some experience for trainer Steve Asmussen. Now Chunk of Gold was second in the Risen Star. I thought he saved ground that day. I thought Built made the better move, so Chunk of Gold I think is going to have to improve even more to really finish here in the top 2 in the Louisiana Derby, but he did rally late at the rail in the Risen Star. Now John Hancock, he scratched from the Virginia Derby. He's the speed of the race. Let's go back to the Sam F. Davis. He's got a stretch duel with Owen Almighty. John Hancock battling back and forth with Owen Almighty. Owen Almighty came back to win the Tampa Bay Derby. John Hancock training down in Florida, shipping in to the Fairgrounds for the Louisiana Derby. He's another one that I think would probably like a sloppy track. Now the 6 furlong pace, I'm going to put John Hancock on the lead. He drew the rail, he's in sharp form, and he had the lead in the Sam F. Davis. Then pressers, I'm going to go with Vasimo, Built, and Caldera. I think any one of those 3 can make a move at any time to go to the lead. Then your mid-pack horses, I'm going to go with Hypnus and Instant Replay, and then the closer is going to be Chunk of Gold. But Yinzer is another one who's capable of putting some pressure on those early leaders if Steve Asmussen wants to let him go towards those leaders. So an interesting pace. Overall, I see a fast pace with John Hancock leading the way. Caldera and Built very capable. Now the big questions, Tyler Gaffleone goes to Caldera. John Hancock, is he the speed of the race? He's got to ship in from Florida. He did draw the rail. And then the Oaklawn horses, you've got Caldera, you've got Hypnus, you've got Tiztastic. Now Hypnus did win at the Fairgrounds, but Tiztastic is going to ship in after a couple of disappointing races. He is now going to try the Fairground surface. My top selection in the Louisiana Derby, I'm going to go with Hypnus. I liked his maiden win at the Fairgrounds. He goes back there. I thought he had a troubled trip in his last start in the Rebel Stakes. I'm going to go Exactas over Built, Vasimo, and John Hancock. I think Hypnus is going to be right around 10-1 in the Louisiana Derby. And then other contenders to consider, I think you could take a look at Built. I thought he made a good bird mace move. He would like a sloppy track. He moves up. He should be forwardly placed in this race. And then Vasimo, I thought he had a good 4th place finish in the Risen Star. Could be improving, had a nice maiden win at Gulfstream Park. Now the Fairgrounds, the Louisiana Derby, a 100-point race. We already had the Risen Star. Magnitude was hurt. The Lecomte Stakes, and then they started it all off with the Gun Runner. Points races continue. We've got a preview of the Jeff Ruby Stakes up later on this week. And don't forget the Triple Crown Prospectus. We write about the 3-year-olds every Monday through the Belmont Stakes. You can still sign up. Look for it in the description below. The Triple Crown Prospectus, 2,000 words every week. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Support the channel. Who do you like in the Louisiana Derby? Do you like Vasimo? Do you like Built? What about Chunk of Gold? Leave a comment. And remember, D. Wayne Lucas always says, people have opinions, horses have the facts.